Well, we would like to welcome back a man who set the world on fire again this weekend, Paddy Pimblett, with an absolute clinic of a performance. We hadn't seen him for a year, and he has joined us. He's on the Liverpool promenade, and he's stopping for a chat with the Bash. Paddy, how happy are you with that performance? You looked in incredible shape. I think your striking looked better than ever.
Amazing.
I think your conditioning looked better than ever. Was it better than ever? Is this the best version of Paddy Pimblett we've ever seen?
Yeah, by a country mile. Only been working with Paul Reed, new S&C coach, as Dan Hardy was mentioning on the commentary, and as I've told you before, I've been doing a lot of work when it comes to me boxing and me striking side of things, and everything just come together. Like I said in the post-fight interview, and that there's levels to this, and David Martinez just isn't on my level.
I want to talk to you about your next move, because this is something that everybody's talking about. Is it the UFC? Is it 155? Is it 145? And if you don't know the answer to that yet, how long would you say before you'll make up your mind in terms of your next move?
I don't know, to be honest. We're going to have to see what happens over the next week or two, aren't we? See what goes on, see who gets on the phone, see what happens. But when it comes to what weight, I don't know. I'm gonna again speak to me S&C coach Paul Reed. He also helps me with all my nutrition and that as well. I'm gonna speak to him. I think we're gonna get a DEXA scan in the university. Once I've had a DEXA scan to look at my body and see if it's safe for me to make 145, then I'll make 145.
Ever stuff. Paddy, what did
Not doing no of them crazy cuts ever again.
No, you're right, man. You're right. It's bloody crazy, some of the cuts we've seen, and we've seen you obviously do it over the years. But Paddy, Graham obviously said on the broadcast, he said, you know, Paddy's not going anywhere. He's going to re-sign with Cage Warriors. He's not going to the UFC. Is that just posturing on Graham's side? You know, does that make the situation maybe a little bit difficult for you as well?
No, what I mean, it's Graham's got to do what's for his best interest, isn't he? And like he's got both interest in both case scenarios, so it's one of them really.
I think everybody, right? 145, 155, all these contenders, they thought we're going to get we have a chance to get an opportunity to fight here for these titles, and now Paddy Pimblett could be back in the picture at 145 and 155. And I've said to some of these contenders, I've said, if Paddy Pimblett wants to fight for one of these titles, he's going to get that title. He's going to get the title shot, without a doubt. What do you think of the current title mixes at 55 and 45? What's appealing to you more? Like right now we have Jordan Vucenic at the top of 145. You have Charrier at play. You have Hughes at play. And then we have Adi Sadari at the top of 155, who... fair play to him, he won the belt, but he hasn't set the world on fire with his first two performances in that weight class. I've personally talked to a lot of people on the scene who would definitely pick you above Sadari if that fight was made. I think a lot of people still think it's 155 you're focused on, but what appeals to you more? Where do you think you could make the most amount of noise here? 155 or 145?
It doesn't matter, does it? I could fight at any weight and I make a lot of noise at it. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what weight I fight at. That's the division what's getting spoke about. And if you watched the main event on Friday, the lightweight title fight, for a full minute in the first round, it was me what was getting talked about. There was a fight going on, and they were talking about me and my S&C coach, know what I mean, and how much good shit condition I'm in, and the fact that I'm fighting in the co-main event tomorrow night, and that was more important than that fight. So, like, I'll take the split decision, know what I mean? Agi Sadari can't finish his dinner, so I'll fight him. Like, I would like to get the 155 belt, but as I say, we'll see what happens over the coming weeks.
I was thinking about this UFC situation, and I think you could have gone to the UFC on multiple occasions, and I think you would have been ready to fight in the UFC for a long time, but this version of you now feels like a different level. When I saw you, everything about that performance, from the lead up to the weigh-in to you getting into the cage, I was like, this is a different level to Paddy Pimblett we've ever seen before. Is it fair to say that this is the version of yourself you'd have always wanted to brought to the UFC? Maybe there was things in the past that you wanted to get together before going. Is this now? Is that why you're so vocal about it now? You know this is the version of you that can tango with the best guys there in the UFC.
Yeah, it is. I know this is the best version of me, and it's that simple. Like, obviously, when I was a kid, I still would have said, yeah, I'll still beat anyone in the UFC. But looking back now, if this version of me fought that version of me, I'd kill me in a minute. I'd beat me faster than I beat David Martinez. You know what I mean? Like, this version of me now is just different. It's a lot more professional. I live the game. You know what I mean? I don't just talk about living it. That's just what's happened over the past few years. I've had to take a few losses and a few setbacks to realise what I've actually got in front of me and how good I really am. And I've started doing it professionally, and you just saw a glimpse of that the other night. That wasn't even a good performance, lad. I just went out there and steamrolled him. I didn't get to show you any of me boxing, really, just some of me footwork and me defence. It's just that was the same old me. You're going to see an even better version of me when I do fight in the next few months.
Paddy, can I ask you a question? I want to ask you, obviously you've talked, as we mentioned, about the UFC in the last number of weeks, and, Cage Warriors, he's obviously been the poster boy for a long, long time. I think that was your 14th fight. Like, it'd be a weird place without you. But in your mind, are you gone from Cage Warriors? Was that your last fight for Cage Warriors in your mind?
Yeah, especially in the build-up to it, I thought, yeah, get a nice finish here, but then I only got your standard rear naked choke, didn't I, lad? I thought I was going to get that question mark head kick knockout. So, like I say, I'm just going to have to see what happens over the next 2 weeks or something. See who gets in touch and see what happens, and if I don't get signed, I probably will be expecting to take that 155 belt.
Okay.
What's the contract situation like, Paddy? Like, I mean, are you essentially a free agent now and you would be signing a new contract to fight for the Cage Warriors belt? Or what way does that work? I know when it comes to Paddy Pimblett, things are probably a bit different than most fighters on the Cage Warriors roster, but is there a situation where you're tied down to a certain amount of fights with Cage Warriors here, or are you free to go now?
No, I don't think I could do what I'll be honest at the minute, but like I say, I wouldn't just... There's only one place I'd go. I wouldn't go anywhere apart from the UFC. It's that simple. I wouldn't be signing for Bellator and then doing nothing like that, but not fighting for 6 months or fighting once every year.
Fair enough.
And it's kind of exciting because the one thing I always said to you, Paddy, was it would break my heart if I saw you go to the UFC and you'd have to wear those Reebok shorts. But the Reebok deal is coming to an end next month, so we have.
It is.
I'm even more happy about him going to the UFC now because I know Venom would put together a nice little Paddy the Paddy signature short for you, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, they'd have to. Hopefully it's not just your standard like Reebok the way they had theirs. Hopefully they do that, like customised things for fighters. That's what they've wanted over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I think that was the
that
talk.
Would be quality. If there was I've talked to you a bit about this offline, but I was wondering if you'd like to share with the people what your dream debut would be. If you could pick the fight that you entered the UFC to, what would that be? Or do you have anyone in mind?
Oh, what now? I've not even asked. could give me anyone, lad. Serious. Give me someone in the top 10. Give me some crabstick who's one loss away from getting beat. From getting cut. I'm not asked, lad. Put me in there with anyone and I'll beat them. Like, I don't care. I've got full confidence in all my abilities now, whether it comes to standing, wrestling or being on the ground with someone. Whether they're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt or they've had 50 pro boxing fights. Put me in there with any featherweight or lightweight in the UFC and I'll give them a fight.
What about Julian Erosa? That was a fight that was huge when it happened. I think that would be amazing.
Someone tweeted me that the other day. Actually, I forgot about him. He's on a 2-fight win streak, isn't he?
Yeah.
That'd be perfect. Because as you know, I won the first 3 rounds anyway, lad, before I gassed. So couldn't even finish a man who had no gas tank for rounds 4 and 5, lad, who cut 8.5 kg overnight.
I agree with you, Pete. So I think that'd be if Paddy was to go in, that'd be a brilliant fight to sell to the fans as well, because that was obviously high profile. I remember we watched that in New York, Pete, in Madison Square Garden. It was the same night as Eddie Alvarez and Conor McGregor, but we had to tune in to you beforehand to watch it. So I think that'd be a remarkable way for you to make a UFC bout against Julian Erosa. Definitely, totally agree with you.
What do you think of?
That would be a lovely debut, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be quality. You can sell the story. The story is unbelievable.
Big time.
But I wanted to know, Paddy, what do you think? Like you've been there, right? And you proved again that when you fight, it's something different in Cage Warriors. It's never been like it is when you fight. I honestly believe that. And you've seen these new generations of talent come through over the years in your spell, like the likes of Ian Gary we have now, guys like Morgan Charrier. Like, is that off-putting to you at all when you see these guys through? Are you happy to see these guys come through? But like, you're the constant, right? Like, you're the measuring stick that all these guys are measured against, right? Like, because you've done things with Cage Warriors that no one else really has. What do you make of these dudes?
I like them. You know what I mean? The sound, it's good. It's nice to have them at shows, lad, and they're alright, you know what I mean? I've met Ian I met Ian when I was meant to fight Giannetti. He's alright. Morgan Charrier was in my changes the other night, lad. He's a sound kid, but they don't, like, they're not me. Like, Ian Gary's got his own style and that now. Ian Gary's looking unbelievable, 6-0, flawless record. Morgan Charrier's got a big crazy following in France, you know what I mean? But they're just not the baddie, are they?
That's true. No one is. Yeah.
So, if can we ask you? Do you have a prediction for Grant v Gary? Because I think that's the toughest fight of his life. I think Grant was great at 55. He's moved up to 170. I don't think he's been as consistent as he once was in his career, but looked good beating Mattis the other night. Do you have a prediction for how that welterweight final will play out?
It depends what version of each fighter turns up on the night, but after watching the performances the other night, I can't go against Ian Gary, man. I said Ian Gary when the tournament was first announced, and he proved me right the other night when he landed that egg kick, you know what I mean? If Jack Grant comes out and wants to strike with Ian, I can see it being a short night, but as we all know, Jack's got very good submission skills. If it ends up on the floor, he could easily catch Ian in the sub.
If you went down to 145 again, Paddy, and you mentioned Morgan Charrier's following, if you went back down to 145 and they did a fight between you and Charrier, do you think anything else the promotion could put on could rival that at the moment? Because that feels like to me it would be an outrageous banner. Yeah,
it would. Like, would have been nice if he would have kept the belt. Could have done a good fight there.
Yeah,
but, looks like Paul Hughes is fighting Vucenic, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's hard to know because
what do you think of Paul?
Rematch, right?
Yeah.
I know what Paul. He's looked good in his last few fights. You know what I mean? The split decision versus Vucenic, I thought it was a very close fight myself. When I watched it live, I thought Hughes had took it.
I agree.
But I stood next to him in the hotel the other day. He's a lot smaller than me, you know.
You're huge.
I make him look like a bantamweight lad.
You're big.
This is the thing, right? I'm looking at like your body there the other night, and you were ripped. Like you didn't look like you would cut a lot of weight. You looked so healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what's giving you the kind of?
I'd only cut 4 pounds overnight.
Wow. Have you given up the Chinese and the build up?
Yeah, that's what I mean, lad. More the professional version of me. This is I what's it called? The day before though, I had 2 hash browns and 2 sausages for me brekkie, lad, and some eggs. You know what I mean? I didn't go no carbs all week. I done a little session on the Thursday night and that, a little bit of pads. You know what I mean? I felt fresh all the way through it. That's what I mean. Like now I've got Paul Reed with me, lad. It's a name you'll be hearing over the next few years off people. Best S&C coach in the game and nutritionist, and he's just made me body ridiculous. And that's why I think now I can't make 145. When I was doing it in the past, I was doing it very unprofessionally. I was cutting big amounts of weight, and it was affecting my body. Now, I think I could make 145 quite easily.
So how much of a window do we have to eat shite here? Like, that's what I want to know. How much of a window do you have where you can put away?
I'm giving myself a week.
A week?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Me and Paddy send each other our McDonald's orders sometimes. Like, and I can tell you, he has one of the most impressive McDonald's orders in the world. I'm just wondering, how many times do you plan to visit the Golden Arches in the next week, Paddy?
Well, know what? I haven't had a Mackey's all year. I haven't had a Mackey's. Same. In fact, I had a Mackey's brekkie on my birthday on the 3rd of January, and I haven't had a normal Mackey's all year. But that Grand Big Mac goes off on the 23rd.
Oh, you'll have to get
But
one.
I'm having burgers in my bed. I'm having burgers in my bed's Mars tomorrow, so I don't even know if I can be arsed getting a Mackey's one.
Jesus
Wow,
Christ.
this is amazing. We must connect on a symbiotic level, because I haven't had a Mackey's when I get it, man.
I've had two fucking many of them. Jesus, this year. I used to never eat them. It's this fucking year that's ruined me, lads. I'm telling you. Holy God. Sizing me. I'm like fucking, as I said to you, Pujanowski.
I'm gonna have to dessert diaries this week, lad. I go different desserts. I come home and my missus had me a cake and that, and all cookies and brownies, and then a local baker by ours made me a cookie dough pie. Lads, unbelievable.
Nice.
That was so good, man. I saw a picture of that. Jesus Christ, crazy. But Paddy. Just one more in terms of the UFC thing. They have wanted you for a long time, right? And you've kind of said to them, well, I want to stay here, and then I'll eventually come. Is there any way that they could be annoyed that you didn't take them up the first couple of times? Like, I think you've made the right decision. Based on what you did at the weekend, I don't think there's any argument that you've made the right decision here. But is there any way that you might think that that left a bad taste in their mouth or something like that?
I don't know, didn't even think about it like that. You never know. Some people are good, just they might do, but I doubt it. You know, they look at me and they see dollar signs, so it's one of them, innit?
Yeah. As they should. So if you're to go and get this title, that will be the last port of call, you'd assume, right? Like, there's nothing left to do. If it comes to that, like, you might get signed now, and I wouldn't blame them if they did, but if it comes to getting that title before you go back, that's surely the last port of call before the UFC, right?
Yeah, it would be 100%, though. I mean, like, I've always said I'd like the 155 belt, and I wouldn't sit here and lie and say now that I wouldn't want the 155 belt. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to add to my resume and be another Cage Warriors champion of 2 weight divisions. But if the UFC do come in now, then I will go.
Yeah, right.
Depending on the money's right, like.
Yeah.
See, that's a different thing. When you're dealing with the body, it's not just about the contract coming, it's got to be right.
Definitely.
Well, look, Paddy, that's all we've got for you, but I can't thank you enough. We're interrupting your celebration week, but I hope you have a great one.
We're just on a walk, lad. There's the city there, you know what I mean? Just walking down the promenade.
Beautiful, man. Well, you look great. I'm so happy to see you in such a good place. You look incredible.
The cheeks are back already.
Get down to McDonald's. Get your super Big Mac or whatever.
I know. I've only been off the diet for 2 days and the cheeks are back.
Old habits die hard, Paddy.
They do, lad. They do. I'm the hamster again.
We appreciate it, Paddy.
We'll talk to you again. Thanks so much for joining us, man. A pleasure as always. Thank you.
Nice one, brother.
Cool, the fellas.
Hello, guys. If you want to hear more of The Bash, you can subscribe to us on all our wonderful channels on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and all that other shit.
And click the links below. Click the links below, the notification button. It comes straight to your phone if we've any fresh content. And also hit the subscribe button. It does help. You're some plonker.
It's very serious.